Hello, Internet. I'm Matt, and this is the Parallax Scrolling Podcast, where we give you our perspective on video games and the news that affects them. As you can tell, it is just me today. Monster is currently buried in work and is unable to record, so it's my turn to take over. Just me. Woohoo! But it's going to be me and you and the rest of the Internet, and I figured that now would be a good time to chat. Obviously, got some news I want to talk about today, and really want to share some info on some games, but I did want to take a second to apologize. I know I don't have to. I know I don't have to, but I want to. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for the last episode, and that we didn't have an episode in between that one and this one. Reason being, there was a health emergency in my family, and it took quite a bit of time to take care of it and take care of my family and just get myself to a place where I could be in a good mental health state to record again. It's very interesting what I do and what I go through. So I do apologize, and hopefully I'm going to be here for the next several podcasts in the future. Yeah, I guess that's a weird way of saying it, but yeah, okay. But I figured one way I could make it up to you is I know you guys are anxiously awaiting a particular list of mine, a particular top 20 list of certain games of a certain genre that has to do with Metroid and Castlevania of that quality. So yeah, I'm going to give you a teaser. I hope you're good with that. I'm not going to give you... I have my list, but I'm not going to give you all of them because a lot of them are surprises. And I kind of wanted to do make an actual video, not just for the podcast channel, but for my own personal channel. And I wanted to actually have video footage to back up my reasoning for everything, for why these are on my list. That said, there's a couple on here I just want to tease you with so that you know kind of what you're getting into. First off, I'm only going to give you 5, all right? I'm going to give you a quarter of my list. Super Metroid. Kind of an obvious one, isn't it? But yeah, Super Metroid's on the list. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Also on the list. Kind of some big important ones, I feel, that affect really the entire genre. Hollow Knight. Love Hollow Knight, and I actually put that out on my channel. I might even link that playlist here if you want to see how I played through that game and how I did. And yeah, it's definitely a great game. Want you to check that one out. All right, I got 2 more I want to tease you with. I want to find some good ones. I'm looking at my list. I want to pick ones that you're not going to be like, ooh. I don't want to spoil too much of my list. Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge is a great game. If you have not played that or the other one, I would definitely recommend those. And I think the last one I'm going to leave you with is Blasphemous. Blasphemous is such an amazing Metroidvania. It's so different, but so similar, and it's really good. So I would recommend those. Check those out. And when I have that video ready for you guys, I'm going to announce it, and hopefully you can enjoy it. Okay. Enough with the teasing. On to video games, right? Because that's why you're here. What have I been playing in the meantime? I've had a little bit of time to sit and wait because, it's kind of what you have to do when you're dealing with, hospitals and phone calls and doctors and, So I had some time, and I got to play Sea of Stars. I need to tell you, if you like RPGs, if you like our top 10 JRPG list, and you like some of the games that were mentioned on there, you need to play Sea of Stars. It is such a good game. The graphics are amazing. The music is amazing. The story is solid. The character designs are great. It's actually really amazing. This is probably one of the few RPGs where I don't hate a single character. Like, those are few and far between. There's always at least one character I'm like, you're annoying, you're going to get benched, and I'm never going to use you. I used everybody, and I loved everybody. That's such a good game. And it's worth playing. It's actually worth playing multiple times. Not going to spoil any story or anything, but it's definitely worth playing multiple times. And I was actually able to complete this game. And there is a beautiful Easter egg that I wouldn't say made me tear up, but it definitely made me like very, very happy and content for that Easter egg. So yeah, it's such a solid game. The combat mechanics are great, and I love the combos, and I love the ultimates, and play it. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get a chance to play it. If you have Game Pass, you have no excuse. You have zero excuse. Play it now while it's on Game Pass. You will not regret it. And then when it comes off of Game Pass, buy it, because they deserve your money. That game is that good. All right? It's probably one of my top games of the year. All right? Definitely check out Sea of Stars. And yes, as I have been told, and I got it confirmed, there is DLC coming to Sea of Stars that's free, and it's going to tie the game into the Messenger universe. So if you haven't played the Messenger, you should play that too. But definitely play Sea of Stars. Oh, such a fondness in my heart for that game. But I got to play that. I got to play some more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I actually had some really cool stuff happen to me in that game. Stuff I was not expecting to happen. First off, I found the Fierce Deity mask from Majora's Mask. I can wear it and it actually boosts my attack power, so that's kind of cool. I found the Bigoron sword from Ocarina of Time. Now, I don't like those two games. I'm not a big fan of those two, but it's cool that they're mentioned and they have some relevance to what you're playing. But the one thing that did surprise me, and again, this is from Majora's Mask, I don't know how often this happens, but I actually looked at the moon one night as I was running across a mountain, and the face on the moon was the face from Majora's Mask's moon. It didn't have like the red burning eyes or anything. Like, it was all like the same blue shade. But it was that moon. It was undeniable. And I was like, that's super cool. I appreciate the callbacks to the other Zelda games. So I'm hoping maybe I can find a King of Red Lion ship somewhere and and sail with him a little bit. That'd be fun. Oh, what else? I played a game called Fuga Melodies of Steel. That's Fuga Melodies of Steel. I was tempted to play this one for a while, and I do regret not playing this one sooner. It reminded me a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles. If you have not played that series, those are some great games. Premise is this: it's like 1940s world, all right, but it's animal people. Keep that in mind. The evil Burman army, that's not a hidden nail on the head or anything, is trying to take over this innocent village, and they capture all the people except for a group of kids. These kids manage to escape, and they find a magic tank that's about the size of a windmill, they say. And so these kids use this tank to try and free their families. That's kind of the premise of the story, is you're going along and trying to fight the evil empire so that you can free your family. It's actually a really good game, and the more you get to play it and the more you understand the characters, at least for me, I really got to feel like something, like I feel a connection to them. And it made it difficult because very early in the game, they force you to use a mechanic that I think is just wrong. It's just terrible. In execution, what it is, story-wise, everything. So what this mechanic is called is the soul cannon. There's like this special funky cannon attached to the tank. And if your tank is about to blow up, you're in like the red. You have the option to use the soul cannon, and it fires the beam and will completely decimate the enemy. Anybody, bosses, enemies, doesn't matter. It'll decimate them. The catch is that it costs you one of the children piloting the tank. All right? That's what makes it so difficult. And it's very intentional by the developers, I can tell. Because instead of having like grown-up characters, like, oh, sacrifice this grown-up so that you can win the game. Like, people will be willing to do that. Like, children? Oh, that's just rough. Especially when, as you're traveling along the map, you have the ability to go inside the tank and like interact with the kids, and they get to talk to each other. And you're listening to these conversations, and you're like, these kids are cool. These are great kids. And they're in a very bad situation, and I feel terrible for them. And you want me to sacrifice one of them? You are evil. You're just evil. So, I really enjoyed that game, and I wanted to give it some more playtime. But alas, I sat on it too long because it was on Game Pass. And this is my one big grief with Microsoft right now. Is Game Pass normally remove games at the end of the month, but they just recently removed Fuga from the Game Pass store. So I was in the middle of the game, and now it's $40 to buy it, and I honestly can't justify buying it right now, and that stinks because I was in the middle of a story, things were getting good. I was really enjoying trying to figure out how to survive without sacrificing the children, and how to use the characters to the best advantage, and team compositions and all this stuff. And why'd you do that to me, Microsoft? Why'd you do that to me? That's just wrong. Oh, but it forced me to download and pick up Starfield. Yeah, I know. I've only played a couple hours so far because I've had a little bit of time this week. Initial impressions. Cool. I like the space fighting. I did it once. I had another opportunity to do it again, but I managed to avoid it, so it was kind of unnecessary. I actually talked my way out of my first boss fight. I thought that was kind of neat. There's a persuasion mechanic. The character customization's pretty loose, pretty good. The gameplay feels solid. You can play either first person, which I am, or you can play like behind the shoulder, or like even further removed from the character, full third person. You can like the locales are actually pretty cool looking. Like the city, the first city you come upon is like massive, and like I actually stopped and looked around a little bit. I was like, this is very well detailed. This is a good job. But let me say this, and I'm probably going to get some flack. If somebody tells you that Starfield is not Elder Scrolls in space, they're lying to you. It is 1,000% Elder Scrolls in space, because there's so much junk everywhere. I'm currently going through a dilapidated shipyard for spaceships, and you can just see like there's just so much chaos and so many things have been flung around, and it's like, oh look, what's this item I could pick up? Foam cup. Why why give me junk? I'm looking for ammo, I'm looking for weapons and armor and healing. Oh my gosh, I'm looking for so much healing because I'm getting my butt kicked. That's my fault because I chose to be the guy who runs up and punches people. But it's still, I'm trying to find all this stuff, but I'm having to sift through everything because there's just so much junk. And it's a staple of Bethesda, you know? So I'll have a better idea more as I play the game. Hopefully I don't get that Bethesda burnout. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but when you're playing like an Elder Scrolls game or something, you're just like, ugh, really? This? I'm bored. Yeah, hopefully you don't get that. But yeah, I'll let you know more when I play more of it. So I've already taken up close to 15, 16 minutes of your time. I guess it's time to get into some news, huh? Before we do, my comment that I had asked you a few weeks ago now, about mini maps in games. I still want to save that conversation so that when Monster and I are available to do it, we could talk about it. But I really do appreciate your comments, so I'm going to give you guys more opportunities. If there's more of you listening who really want to say something about the minimap debacle, whether you love it, hate it, or meh, this is your opportunity. Go ahead, put something in the comments. We do read these. Thank you guys so much for the comments you do leave. And I guess since I'm talking about comments, this is going to be the middle of the podcast. I guess I'll just start shilling. Please like, comment, subscribe, and give us a house or something. I don't know. Give us stuff. I'm not serious, by the way. Please don't. But yeah, just like, comment, subscribe if you got something for us, especially if you got news stories. Like the one I'm going to be talking about today is such a big news story. Thank you to that one dude for bringing this to my attention, and for giving me the catch line I'm going to be using today. Unity has brought unity to the gaming community by making everybody hate Unity. So what happened? Unity brought out a new price plan for their program. And, well, let's just say it didn't go over well. How do I... Okay, I'm just going to give you guys the information so that you know what I know, and then you can understand where I'm coming from and how stupid this idea was, all right? By the way, John Riccitello, I can never pronounce his name again. Riccitello, something like that. Johnny boy, man, he is not doing good. This is like his worst year in this company by far. Quick reminder on that one. He basically told everybody, if you don't charge for your stuff, you're a beep idiot. So, yeah. Well, they've gone ahead and they're changing up their pricing for the runtime fee for Unity effective January 1st. As of the time of this recording, they're still talking about the changes they're going to be making because of all the backlash that has caused. But we'll get to that. So right now, what people know is that you have to pay so much to use Unity. You pay a yearly subscription to access to the program so that you can make your games and put them out and sell them. Well, Unity has decided that they want a piece of that pie more than what they've already been asking for. So they're going to charge an install rate. To explain that further, for every install of the game, not purchase, install, they're going to charge 20 cents per install. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but let's give that context, all right? 20 cents per install. If you sell 1 million copies, that's a lot of money. That's, what, 20,000 there? If you sell 100 million copies, it's a ridiculous amount of money, folks. I'm not mathing right now, but... And I think I'm going to put this chart up that I found on the Unity blog. I'm going to put this up in the podcast, but this is ridiculous. And here's the problem with it. Before I go further, here's the major issue with that. So you're charging by install. Let's say I make a game. I use Unity. You, the viewer or listener, buy my game. And then something happens, and you and I have a beef. Or you have a beef with me. Okay? So you decide that the best way to get back at me is to uninstall and reinstall my game over and over and over again. Indie developers aren't going to be able to cover costs like that. They're not going to cover the cost of troll people who decide that this is going to be funny to do. So think about this stuff. This is just a bad business plan, and it's frustrating. I'm looking at it. It's frustrating, and it's not getting better. And I know I'm not the only person who's upset about this, because there's been a ton of backlash. So much so that they closed their offices early last week. Like, I think it was like maybe Wednesday, Thursday. They closed it, and they closed the offices for the rest of the week because they received a death threat. You heard me. They received a death threat. Recently, news has come out that that death threat was sent by somebody on the inside, somebody from the company. The heads up of Unity made such a blunder. They ticked off not only game developers and game lovers, but they ticked off Unity developers as well. There was also a post, I don't know if I could find that tweet, but somebody had tweeted they were a former Unity employee as of that day. And they said, so many people came forward in the company. We said, no, this is a bad idea. We expressed our concerns. We talked about this, and they went ahead and announced this without warning to anybody, not even the people inside the office. So, this is just dumb. This is just dumb. But Unity is currently trying to backtrack. Okay. They have said that they are currently reevaluating. Let's see. We have heard you. This is the official blog. All right. We have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we will be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. They could have avoided this entire scenario if they had done this in the first place. Said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Instead of implementing it, what do you think we should do? But no, they didn't do that. And to sit there and say, we apologize for the confusion and angst. It's angst that they caused. No, they caused fury. They caused rage. People were livid with this decision. And I can't explain it all, because a lot of it gets past me. But there have been a lot of indie developers that have come out and said, hey, we're going to pull our game. I even believe I heard that the developers of Cult of the Lamb, which has done so well, have said they're going to pull the game in protest. So people aren't going to be able to play that game if they don't already own it. This is just yet another reminder to all of you loyal gaming fans who we are all among. The corporate heads of these companies do not care about you. They care about your wallet. So please, buy with discretion, buy with caution. Support the developers who deserve it. Like, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast, Sea of Stars from Sabotage, buy it. Support them. But when you see companies, AAA companies, EA, Activision, anyone who comes out and behaves like this, because this isn't just a Unity thing, this is like a video game industry thing. When they come out and they start behaving like this, you need to respond with your wallet, because that is the only way they'll listen to you. What are your opinions on Unity? Tell me in the comments down below. I really want to hear from everybody. Give me some feedback. What do you think about what's going on with Unity? How dumb it is? I want to know. But with that, I'm going to get off the soapbox because I need to. for my own mental well-being, I need to. But I don't have Monster to get his opinion on this stuff, but I do want to talk to him and get some ideas. Maybe we'll readdress these things together next time we get to record. But before we go, I'm going to wrap up with my personal opinions from Monster's solo episode about PlayStation and Game Pass and just the whole mess. I think it's dumb. I've looked at the PlayStation Plus catalog this entire year, and even my brother and I, we've been talking about it. There's just not been a whole lot of great games. There hasn't been stuff that's like grabbed your attention for the most part. Every once in a while there's something. Like when I got to play Alan Wake Remastered. Oh wow, that was great. I'm glad that happened. But the problem with the PlayStation Plus forcing you to play multiplayer through this subscription, forcing you to download games that are already considered old, makes you kind of behind the times. And that's definitely not helpful for a guy like me who has very little money but is a content creator. You know, like I need you to work with me. So that's why I do appreciate Game Pass with the whole, hey, here's this game just came out. Why don't you give it a whirl? Cool. At the same time, I'm not a big fan of just price hikes, price changes. If it's literally the same product that you have been providing for years, especially in a digital format, don't scream inflation at me. I don't agree with that because it's a digital product. Literally nothing changes about code. You know, it's not fruit or bread. It's it's not meat. It's not food. It's a digital product you consume. It stagnates. And on that note, I also don't agree with Nintendo's pricing system. But we talked about that before too. Oh, video game companies, why you gotta be like this, huh? Why you gotta be greedy? Why you gotta be greedy? Alrighty. I think I've talked your ear off long enough. Thank you so much if you've been listening to me this entire time. I do appreciate you guys. And hopefully next time it'll be Monster and I actually back in action and sharing some good times with y'all. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic week. Have a fantastic time enjoying your games. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Later.